Okay, everyone, we're now moving on to our video for the area of a triangle, and we're going to also touch a little bit on perimeter as well. Now, in front of us, we've got the two definitions for perimeter and area, which we saw in the last video. The perimeter is the distance around a shape, and the area is the space inside a 2D shape. Now, what I've got for you on the left-hand side is the rectangle we first started with in the very first example, which was 3 centimeters by 4 centimeters. And we said that the space inside was the number of these centimeter squares. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 centimeters squared, which we obtained for the area of a rectangle by multiplying the length by the width, which gave us 4 times 3, which was 12 centimeters squared. So that was for the rectangle. Now, the shape below is a triangle, which is almost identical to the rectangle above. But what we've done to it is we've cut it in half by drawing a diagonal line across here. Now, if the area in that rectangle was 12, what I've done here is half it, because I've taken half of that shape and made it into two identical right-angled triangles. So if the area in here was 12, this would be 6, and this would be 6. And this comes to the formula for the area of a triangle. What we're doing here is we're multiplying the two lengths together, which are perpendicular, and then once we've done that, we divide by 2. So the formula for the area of a triangle is as follows. It's the base times the height, or the perpendicular height. So over here, the base times the perpendicular height. That's a very, very key word there. Perpendicular means at 90 degrees. So it kind of creates that L shape. And we'll see in a few examples in a moment where that's maybe not the case, or we'll have other lengths and we need to identify which one is the perpendicular height. So here, our formula is the area is equal to the base times the height and then divided by 2. So we get 4 for the base times by the height, which is 3, divide by 2. 4 times 3 is 12, divided by 2 is 6, and again that would be centimeters squared. And that's the area for a triangle. So very, very key. Now I'm going to go through 3 examples with you, showing you different variations of different questions we could see. So if I turn this over, the first example on the very left, we have our base, which is 5, and our perpendicular height, because of this 90-degree symbol here, is 4. So once again, our formula area is base times height divided by 2. We now substitute in our values. The base is 5 times by the height, which is 4, divide by 2. The area is equal to 5 times 4 is 20, divide by 2 is 10 centimeters squared. Now, I've made a big assumption there saying that that was the same as a rectangle, but what I'm going to do is I'll show you around the outside of the shape is I could have made this, again, a big rectangle around the outside, which has been cut. This triangle is half of that shape. This triangle is half of this shape. And we can see that means that this triangle is half of the whole shape, which is a rectangle with base 5 and height 4. So we've once again said base times height divided by 2. Now, the middle example, slightly different only because, well, the base isn't on the bottom. We can see here the base is actually on the top. Now, I could to kind of make this clear, I could turn it round and we can see now, well, that's our base, that's our perpendicular height. So it doesn't really matter that it's that way around. So I'm just going to put it back and now label our length. So when we label the two lengths, we've got our base is the 6, our height is the 2, and we put it into our formula. Area is base times height divided by 2, which is 6 times 2 divided by 2. 6 times 2 is 12, divided by 2 is again 6. Now this time I'm not using centimeters squared, I'm using meters squared because the area of this shape had lengths in terms of meters. Remember we said that the unit of area could be either centimeters squared, meters squared, millimeters squared, kilometers squared. It depends on the units we're working on. Now, the last one, a bit more challenging because I have 4 different lengths in this diagram. And this is where this formula becomes much more important in understanding which one is the base and which one is the perpendicular height. Now, technically, any length in a triangle could be the base, but we need to use the one which has a perpendicular height. The right angle here is perpendicular to the 1 and the 10. So that means the 10 must be our base along here, and the height here must be our 1. So once again, the area is the base times the height divided by 2, which in this case is 10, times 1 divided by 2. 10 times 1 is 10, divided by 2 is 5 centimeters squared. And that's our area. Very, very clear there. Base times perpendicular height divided by 2 will always enable you to work out the area of a triangle. Now, just to finish up, we also said we might touch on perimeter, and we said the perimeter is the distance around the 2D shape. But we can only work out the perimeter for one of these triangles. Which one is it? Well, it can't be the first one because I've only got this distance. I don't know this one and I don't know this one. I can't do it for this one either because I only know this one. Sorry, I only know the base. I don't know these two lengths. And finally, the last one I can work out the perimeter for because I have the 3 lengths round the outside. So just to work that out, just to finish up, we can quite clearly see the perimeter for the last triangle over here, starting from here, gives us a distance of 10 plus the distance from here to here, which is 5. And then finally the distance of here to here, which is 3, gives us a perimeter of 18 centimeters. I hope that's made sense. If it hasn't, please comment below or again contact me. Hope you enjoy.